Live from the World Center of Racing, welcome race fans one and all back to Green Flag TV, where tonight we get set to kick off race number 1 of the OMSRL Truck Series season. Welcome to Daytona and to the Busch 160. My name is Olawembo, bringing you all of the coverage here tonight from start to finish of what should be a very exciting 64 laps of racing action here in this one. It's going to be a long and a hard-fought race tonight for all involved as we get set to kick off a brand new season. It's been a long time coming, I think, for the OMSRL Truck Series, right? I mean, these guys were running in those B-Class Xfinity cars for the last 3 seasons. They had them in Season 3, 4, and 5, but for Season 6, they're going to be making that switch over back to the trucks. They started in the trucks, and they're making that return back to familiar hunting grounds. And that's going to mean a very, very different style of racing all throughout the season here tonight. And we'll see what these guys are going to be able to make out of themselves as they'll be trying to no doubt put down some epic racing for us here this afternoon. Taking a look kind of at the schedule and how things are going to line on up for the coming season. We will, of course, be kicking things off here at Daytona International Speedway. We'll swing over to the Windy City to Chicagoland and Joliet, Illinois just 1 week from now. Iowa, Canadian Tire, and Pocono will round out the first salvo of races. We'll take a 1 week break for Valentine's Day on February 13th. Then we will return at Charlotte and go straight through to the chase with Rockingham, Martinsville, Darlington, Phoenix, and the newer version of Atlanta all making appearances. Another 1 week break before we return with some good old short track racing at North Wilkesboro, Homestead, Richmond, Dover, and then the Nashville Super Speedway will be closing out what will be an exciting 16 race season. So all of that will be taking place from tonight all the way out to May 7th. So a lot of action going to be on the racetrack for us here in this one, but qualifying is very much underway as it stands, and a lot of drivers trying to put down some good lap times here, see what they're going to be able to get. There you see one such truck, Bear Morton, currently ripping the top side in his number 9. And right now, currently sitting on the provisional pole spot is going to be the likes here of Keith Handland. That's going to switch, though, to Stefan Purcell. Now, Purcell at the moment is on that provisional pole time, but I'm not expecting for that to stay there for too long, as a lot of these drivers still have yet to put down that second lap of qualifying, and Purcell is one of those drivers that's trying to get himself up to the top step of the points board. It's expected for Ryan Dingler to put down his pole lap this time by, as he's going to siphon his way through, he will be up into the 4th spot here this afternoon, and that's only going to be good enough for that 4th position. Grant Peterson up to 5th. See what rookie Keith Handlin's able to do as he crosses start-finish line out of turn number 4, down into the tri-oval for the number 55, and this time by as he'll cross the line, was sitting 2nd. He remains 2nd for now. Stefan Purcell trying to improve his time up at the top of the points boards. If he can just get up there, he might be able to make this happen. Doesn't look like it. I mean, he did manage to get some improvement, but not enough to really mean all that much. Terry Misek will be sliding into the 6th position, and a lot of time still coming in. Kevin Cordall, one of the last trucks that I think who will be able to put down a qualifying lap with 1 minute left to go. He's starting that 2nd lap. Funneling down the back straightaway for the number 13 truck this time by, and he is currently one of 3 that are still on the racetrack trying to qualify. Anthony Bussati and Bear Morton, the other 2 drivers, sitting 11th, 21st, and 22nd spot respectively, as a lot of them will be working their way up and around. And I can tell you right now, it's going to be a wild drive for everybody here involved, as they'll be looking to file their way here across start finish this time by, and for Kevin Cordall, he will go up to the 6th position on the racetrack. So a good effort there for Cordall, and then you will have looking like Anthony Bussani, 22nd spot, crosses the start finish line. He's going to improve up to 6th as well. So good show then for Anthony Bussani as he will close things out. And with that, qualifying is all wrapped on up. So it's time to show you how everything's going to line on up as we'll get set for your starting grid here tonight. We are having some problems with our overlay, it would seem, here in this one. So we'll try to get that back up in working order as soon as possible. But we can tell you for now, how everything's going to line on up. And right now, it is Stefan Purcell and Keith Handlin that sit first and second on the front row of this race. Holden McGill and Matt Sherry are down on row number 2. Nathan Chiflett and Musadi, 5th and 6th. Kevin Cordall, Terry Misek, Bear Morton, Nathan Swayford will round out the top 10. Ryan Dingler, Robert Peterson, Spencer Ray, Hunter Thrower, Austin McColgan, Grant Peterson, John Kaiser, Daniel Half, Brett Rucker, and Maxwell Kroll will be rounding out the top 20. Noah Rainwater, Jacob Noyes, Brandon Kluge, Gage Teft, Jason Layton, Nathaniel Ames, Justin Wilson, and Brett Vanderhey will be down in 28th. So that's your starting grid then. You've got 28 trucks getting set to line on up, and we're going to continue to do some work here behind the scenes, and we'll see if we can't figure out what's going on with our timing overlay, and we'll be back with more for the start of the race and the start of the season here on Green Flag TV in just a moment.
Racing isn't easy, but experiencing it is. iRacing puts you in the driver's seat with the industry's leading sim racing game. Drive on laser scan replicas of the greatest racing circuits from around the world. Go head-to-head against other drivers chosen by skill-based matchmaking to ensure competitive racing at every level. Compete across all your favorite series. In officially licensed cars, engineered to deliver the most accurate driving experience possible. Join a race or host your own with players from across the globe. Race against the computer or in a league with friends. Feel the thrill behind the wheel. Visit iRacing.com.
We're steadily marching our way down to the turn numbers 3 and 4, and we're still not quite sure what's going on with things over here behind the scenes, but we'll do our best to at least keep you kind of on the in on what's going on here. Meanwhile, the iRacing Pace Truck will be leading the way into turn numbers 3 and 4. Stefan Purcell going to be started this race on that pole position this time by, and we'll get set to see how this race is going to shake on up. I can tell you right now, this is going to get wild, right? It's going to be a very difficult race for everybody involved. The strategy, it so often is, as the Pace Truck will work its way down and into pit road, this time by as Stefan Purcell takes the green flag. We're racing once again in OMSRL. Matt Cherry being pushed to the point by Nathan Shiflett up on the top shelf. Holden McGill runs down on the low side. He is currently sitting in that third position. Your pull sitter going to drop further back as he's going to start to be in that number 2 spot as this race really kicks off in earnest. Shiflett still up to the top, and whoa boy, a bit of a look there for Anthony Russotti. Tried to look for the outside line, just couldn't find the hold to get himself up and sorted. Meanwhile, the race still looking strong. Matt Cherry going to be down on the top side of the racetrack so far. Double file all the way back through this field. Justin Wilson all by his lonesome started this race from pit road, did not make it to the call. He was already down a lap and trying to see if he can make sure that he can get himself back into a lucky dog position if we get one of those early race cautions that Daytona can so often be known for. Turning lap number 3 out of 64. Matt Cherry, Holden McGill, Nathan Shiflett, and more all running line astern as this pack starts to funnel this way up and around. A couple of drivers jumping top to bottom. That was Ryan Dingler that you saw jumping down to the low side there on the back straightaway. Apologies, no, that was Grant Peterson in his 52 truck that jumped down to the bottom. So still going to work into turn numbers 3 and 4. The 55 down low, Shiflett up top. And Shiflett now the main pushers. Holden McGill will jump to the outside. He's trying to make a push to the front. Holden McGill, Nathan Shiflett both jump down. They will get clear as we start lap number 4. And already the Badger Racing crew looking like they will here early on. Hope he goes to the point. And, there we go. We got things sorted on the technical fronts here. So Holden McGill leading the way now as Shiflett, Handling, Cordall, Cherry, and more all packed up line astern. The field ripping down the back straightaway. Truck going to be looking strong on the bottom side for a while now. Meanwhile, the outside looking like it has really started to falter kind of in the last few laps. So, you saw a bit of an attempt there. Matt Cherry thought about looking at the top shelf, ended up, Shiflett thought about going to the top shelf, avoided against it, and that's going to allow for Matt Cherry to be pushed to the point. Anthony Musciati on his outside as one truck getting a bit bobbled out of line. That would have been the 78, Terry Misek, one of the newer rookies in the series. 3 wide now as we funnel down the back straightaway with 60 to go. Oh, and now into the outside wall on a bad lane change for Hunter Thrower, going top to bottom and slamming up and into the outside wall. That, I have to say, not quite the line that I would opt to take if I'm trying to go for a race here. But, hey, I mean, all things considered, he made it happen. So we'll see how this is going to pan out for Hunter Thrower's machine, as we'll try to get a look back on what happened as he worked his way up to the back straightaway on that last time through. And I'll tell you right now, it got mighty, mighty close on the back stretch there, and it's not the sight you necessarily want to see when you're working, when you're just trying to work your way through. Take a ride on board with Hunter Thrower. He was the one that went for 3 wide up the middle of a turn 2, then went for an aggressive lane change. Oh, and in fact, had to slow up for a slowy Misek up the road. A little bit of checkup on the outside line is what kind of sent Thrower into the outside wall. But critically, still running on that outside lane and all secure for now. So we'll see how things are going to pan out for him. Meanwhile, Holden McGill jumps down to the bottom. Shiflett, number 2. And Matt Cherry leading the charge up on the outside line. Truck getting down and onto the apron. That's no bueno as Bear Morton ducking out of line. He'll slink to the bottom and he'll start to drop further back. Comes up onto the track in turn 1. Grant Peterson has to go a base. It was Morton still riding that apron. And I think he may have just lost a lot more spots than that number 9 truck was bargaining for, but still looking relatively clean and green. A bit of a break forming in the field here right at about that 17th position. Nathaniel Ames, the last truck in line. Then Grant Peterson and Gage Teff both in a little bit of no man's land. Further behind them, Brett Vandehey, Robert Peterson, and more bringing up the sort of the second pack. So I think we're going to start to get these 2 different packs starting to formulate here as we march further and further into this race, starting lap number 8. Cherry, Musciati, McGill, Shiflett, Handlin, Cordall, All running now, line astern. And Andrew Mussatti bouncing around a little bit here as he is having some technical difficulties. That's why you see Mussatti kind of throwing the timing screen into a bit of disarray at the moment as he is just trying to get his truck sorted. He's going to make an immediate duck down to the apron and start to slip further and further back. And well, you can tell just how much he is struggling to keep that 4-9 car in the mortal plane. So we'll see if he'll be able to get those issues sorted. But for now, he's going to duck out of line and slide all the way to the tail end of the field. Shiflett, Handlin, Misek, Cherry, Thrower, McGill running as the top 6 in the moment. And how about this 26 truck of Noah Swayford trying to work his way up and into the fray? Way up the road, Justin Wilson's 09 Chevy Silverado in the old barnyard flying machine. He's starting to lose more and more touch with the leaders here, and he's about to go down another lap as Nathan Shiflett just absolutely storming up on the 09 truck. This is going to get intense here if he gets caught at a bad point on the racetrack. Wilson hoping for that caution so we can stay on the lead lap. He had to remember to start this race from pit road. Anthony Mussatti, meanwhile, has dropped out of the field altogether. He is the second truck, well, really the first truck to fully lose the draft if you're not counting Wilson. If you are, he'd be the second truck to lose the draft. Otherwise, first all the way back to 26, packed up line astern in one giant battle pack as they work their way through turn numbers 1 and 2. Wilson at the top side, clips the outside wall. He's going to put this field 3 wide and force them to go the long way around to get around the rust bucket. Ten laps down already in this field as, boy, this race just making good time here tonight. Still double wide for the most part. Haven't seen a whole lot of 3-wide action, and that part has kind of surprised me a little bit. I thought we'd seen a lot more of these drivers going 3-wide in the early stages of this race. It's a pretty common sight, and those that have watched the past Xfinity Series races with this series at Talladega would know it's something they really do like to do, and they like to kind of make your heart stop for a little while. Nathan Shiflett, though, still hanging on the pole. And wow, Matt Cherry really leaning on the door of Keith Handlin there down the backstretch. I think maybe trying to side draft 55 and pull it back. It's a bit early, though, if you ask me, to be doing something like that this early on. I mean, you're talking 160 miles, and we're on, we're not even about, we're just past 25 miles in. I mean, it's a risky tactic to be making so early on, but we'll see what's going to come of that. I don't think anything for now. I think Cherry will just kind of try to keep his line steady so we can get that big push from Bolton McGill right behind him. Oh boy, well, the 78 truck going to get pushed out of line, so Misek going to be starting to slip further back. Hunter Thrower will take it 3 wide again up the middle. 78 will get a hole in between Thrower and the 26 of Noah Swayford. Looking like Justin Wilson has managed to find a bit of an opening in the midst of that pack, so he's going to be slipping further down throughout this field, although he'll be standing at the rear end. If he can avoid any trouble that comes out of this leading pack, he will have that lucky dog free pass, which is good news for him. So that's it's not going to be something he wants to abandon too early on. Field working its way into the tri-oval, starting lap 13. Now Holden McGill making an aggressive jump to the bottom. He'll link up with his battle recent teammate of Matt Cherry. So Barry Morton going to start to slide back towards the rookie of Swayford. And still 2 lines. It's been very organized. I mean, this has been a very, very tame race so far by OMSRL standards at the very least, as the field dives down into turn 3 around the high banks of the world's center of racing. Cherry drifted up just a touch. Thought for a moment he might be hooked by Shiflett. That 15 truck's got the nose in as he'll try to pull even at the start-finish line. Couldn't lead the lap. Cherry's still out in front. Thrower could be a decent pusher, though, so if Shiflett's able to really stand on the gas here, and thrower gives him that push he needs, we could very well see that 45 truck moving his way to the point. Or that 15 truck, excuse me. Throughout the field, looking to be more or less double file. A couple of trucks started to lose a bit more touch. Robert Peterson, Stefan Purcell at risk of losing the draft at the tail end. If I'm these two drivers, I'm getting single filed out to make sure that we can draft our way back up to the front. Two other trucks that were at a risk for a little while, Brandon Cruz and Austin Colgan, although they have since managed to reel this field back in. Nobody making any sort of big moves just yet. I think everybody right now is in the survival phase of this race. Let's just get ourselves to that first critical pit stop window, and then we'll try to kind of establish our momentum and figure out where we're going to go from there. For now, though, it's looking like Matt Cherry and Holden McGill are the duo that are going to be the ones to beat here in this race. The Badger Racing teammates have been really running strong down on the bottom side of the racetrack, and I don't think anybody's going to be able to get around them for now. I know lead changes a fairly common occurrence in the B-class racing we would see here. It wasn't uncommon to see drivers push to the front, drop down low, slip back, and just kind of rinse and repeat as drivers would ditch the low side. But right now, the outside line hasn't really been able to make any sort of major moves from the line down to the bottom. Everybody's been running nose to tail, and you can see, especially towards the middle of the pack, you're looking at how much separation there is up on the outside group of the racetrack. That's telling me that these guys are not pushing it right now. They are more than content to just kind of sit around in the back here, save a little bit of fuel, and just make sure that they'll be there to make those moves by the time you get to the end of this race. Now, the real question is going to be, when do you come down to pit road? Now, this is not like the Saturday Night TNGG Truck Series where you're pitting at about lap 17. You're going to be going a little ways further here in OMSRL before you make that first pit stop window. So it's a long way to go before you really have to start thinking about coming down to pit road. And right now, the only two trucks that are really leaning on the bumpers are the top two of each respective lane. Everybody else lifting the throttle, kind of coasting about half to three-quarters throttle pressure, making sure that they're not overheating their stuff too early on. And overheating of a truck, it's something that, again, the pushers have to really keep an eye on, especially when you got an entire field of trucks sitting just behind. Turning lap 18 of 64, Cherry and Shiflett still run 1-2 up at the front as they have since the drop of this green flag just about. Shiflett, thought he might have something for Cherry down to the inside, but thrower backed off of the bumper, and that's kind of stalled out again, that momentum from the outside line. At this point, Anthony Bussati is, I believe, the lone driver that has no part in how this battle is taking shape, and Stefan Purcell kind of heads up the rear. So every single truck in this race in the middle, and oh boy, Matt Cherry being caught in the middle, pushed down to wide, he's caught in the sucker hole. So Cherry going to slip back. Holden McGill will lead the race from the bottom side, and Cherry's got to hope that somebody's going to let him in or work with him here. Otherwise, he is in for a world of hurt here in that middle line, and he might be able to jump down low here. He's kind of hanging around that middle groove, and in fact, he's going to make his way to the top shelf and push out the 78. But I thought maybe he jumped down low, but no, Misek, the one getting muscled out, but he'll be able to get in line here between the 26 and the 19 of Maxwell Kroll. So Shiflett now going to lead the way. Now Thrower trying to look for the middle line. So now all of a sudden a lot of drivers not working with one another. Trouble and hard crash. Into the outside wall goes Morton. Multiple trucks sliding and slamming into one another. And that will be the big one. That's the entire field collected out of turn number 4. Holden McGill, one of the few drivers to escape the carnage. But boy, a tremendous pileup coming off of the final corner. That all started with one of the green trucks in the middle kind of getting punted around, and that is Not a pretty sight to see on just lap 20. Well, this will be the first chance these drivers will have to make their way down and into pit road. And we'll try to get a look back and find out kind of exactly what went down here as this got hectic here in a hurry. Take a look back as the 55 down to the inside of Kevin Cordall slams up into the outside wall, takes Bear Morton with him, and from there it is on. Watch as the entire field starts to bottle up, hard hits into the inside wall. The 55 still getting kind of kicked around there right in the middle. It's an ugly sight to see, and that was handling that, ended up spinning up into the outside wall. And when you get a wreck like this, there's not a whole lot you can do other than just kind of hang on and hope you're going to be there in the end. As we take another look back at this one, hard hits into the outside wall, and the 13 kind of get collected as well. And then, oh man, that 78 truck just bodied the inside wall. And oh, Grant Peterson and Ames came together. Peterson looked like he had just about missed the wreck. And they also come together, working their way out of turn 4. Sure enough, pretty much everybody down and into pit road. And we've had a crash in pit road. Jacob Noyes stopped sideways in the box, and he has found the pit wall somewhere. So, man, it just continues. Bad news bears all across the field. Ames that they may have missed his box altogether. It is right now just complete chaos in pit road as everybody trying to work their way out. We've had a huge toss-up in the field. Shiflett will lead the way out of pit road. But a lot of trucks are going to be down for a long time, getting damages repaired as a result of this massive, massive pileup working out of turn number 4, excuse me. And, I mean, just a lot of wiggling around, I think, is kind of the cause of that one as, good grief. A lot of trucks getting involved as we will now ride on board with Jacob Noyes, and we will find out what happened to Noyes as Jacob Noyes found himself kind of getting up in trouble as he came his way down into pit road. I mean, it looked like he just kind of lost the back end by himself. Maybe an aggressive turn was all that was. But, man, that's not ideal, to kind of put it bluntly there, for a few drivers in this mess. As, well, it's a tough break to kind of kick this race off. We were having a great race kind of up to this point. It's a bit of a shame that it kind of had to fall apart a little bit like that right in the middle. So we will we'll get a look here and see how this one will pan on out as the field will, some trucks coming back down and into pit road. I think Nathaniel Ames missed his box, though, the first time, which is why we never saw him coming down and into the lane. And meanwhile, we're going to stack them up, and we're going to double them up, and we'll get back set to go racing once more. The OMSRL Truck Series. One more attempt at a look as, well, this is Jacob Noyes entered his pit box after the fact, as we're going to try to get one more final look as, well, no, not quite there either. There we go. This will be the one as Noyes will work his way down and into pit road. As the 3. Did he get some help from behind potentially? And nope. As I suspected, just lost it all by himself. I'm a bit clueless on that one, to be completely frank. We'll work our way out of turn numbers 3 and 4 this time by as Holden McGill will once again be in the race lead. Shiflett having to come down for a second time, and he will now find himself down at the tail end. Pace truck is off, green flag's back in the air, and we're back underway with lap 23 of 64. Side by side, working out of turn 2 down the back straightaway, and look at the charge that Spencer Ray's got, pushed by pushed by Noah Rainwater, almost to the point. He really tried to go for it, but just couldn't get the speed he needed. He's out in the turn 3 to clear, so McGill will take that lead right back. So he siphoned off of turns 3 and 4 and back to the tri-oval. Rainwater, again, one of the rookies entering the season here, making good time so far. Plus 16 on the day for that 05 Silverado. There's one truck going to jump down to the low side of the racetrack, right on board with Rainwater. He works his way out of turn down to turn 2. Spencer Ray working his way up to the top side of the racetrack, and he's going to try to see if he can't funnel in with Holden McGill down on the low side. And can Ray get clear? He has gotten clear, and he's going to jump to the bottom. So Spencer Ray not showing loyalty to Rainwater on the top side. He's going to jump down low and allow Holden McGill to give him the push off of turn number 2. Rainwater will Teft is able to do as Teft kind of getting back up and into the mix here as they fire their way down the backstretch. Teft making a look to the outside, decides against it. He'll tuck back in line. Rainwater, oh boy, a lot of wiggling going on down there between the top 2 on the outside as they work their way back to turn 2. They never got into each other, but boy, it got a bit close there. It almost looked like they tried to get down to the inside, so that's not, to say that's not ideal at all would be putting it mildly, but man, Rainwater really going to try to make that lunge as he's going to try to go around the outside. Holden McGill picks up the number 1 spot for the top shelf as he's going to jump to the outside. He'll get back around Spencer Ray and leads this race once more. McGill never a driver that wants to be outside of the lead for very long. He'll continue to power away and lead this. Oh, trouble, look out! Spencer Ray hard into the outside fence. Caution number 2 on the Speedway as multiple trucks going around. I think Spencer Ray for sure getting the worst of that one as he is sliding backwards into turn 1. Goodness gracious, that was a violent impact. Let's take a look back and we'll again get a look on what went down here. This is going to be entering turn number 2. Just a hard shot into the outside wall, and that was at speed as the 05 looked like one of the main guilty parties to get collected in this one as Spencer Ray coming at you. Yeah, Rainwater came down. That's all there is to write on that one. Gage Teft got a piece of this, but how about that? The entire field just about getting around this without any contact. That is a great way to avoid a wreck, and I have to give my props to everybody involved with that one. That could have been a lot worse. That could have been the second big one of the race, but they're able to keep themselves sorted. Well, caution's out for the second time tonight, just shy of halfway. We're going to take a step back. You're watching the OMSRL Truck Series on Green Flag TV. Tough break for the number 6. Welcome back to Green Flag TV. We are still working caution flag number 2 of the evening after Spencer Ray went hard into the outside wall. Holden McGill continuing to lead the way in this one. Ryan Dingler now has got to his outside of the number 23 truck, so it'll be a Toyota 1-2 up in front. Right now, Grant Peterson down on the high side, and then of course Robert Peterson underneath him, down on that low line against the yellow line on the inside groove. Now, so far, the racing has been more or less tame, and the few cautions we have had have just been on a bit of a mishap of drivers kind of just losing track of, I think, where their trucks are overall. So we'll see if that is a trend that will continue or if the race is going to only accelerate. We are still shy of halfway. We are not quite at the halfway mark just yet, so we're going to continue to work and see what's going to go on throughout the course of this race. I can tell you right now, It is going to be wild. I mean, this is one of those races where you can tell we're in for one of those great finishes that is never going to be one to forget. Pace truck will make its way down and into pit road, this time by as Holden McGill takes his Badger Racing Tundra into the Geiger restart zone. Green flag is back in the air. Was 23, trying to make a run up on the top. Now remember, 3 Badger Racing teammates run first, second, and third. 2 on the top, 1 on the bottom. And Grant Peterson, one of the few that's trying to make the move. They're both going to jump down low and cut off Holden McGill. Badger Racing 1, 2, 3. Down on the low side. Kevin Cordall up on top, trying to get some help out of Nathan Shiflett. But right now, they're a 2-horse race all by themselves on the outside groove, and it's not looking like that's going to go their way for now. They're going to be able to maintain that pace, but with only 2 of them on the outside, they're going to actually be able to make any kind of meaningful progress up on the outside line. But hey, not for lack of trying. They're going to go at it however they can possibly do and try to get themselves with a good momentum drive. Ryan Dingler leading the way down on the low end. Kevin Cordall tracking up to the top, as Peterson and Shiflett run 3rd and 4th. Holden McGill way down to the bottom, and you've got Maxwell Kroll in the fray as well. Ryan Dingler making good time down on the inside line. Top 2 continuing to drive away with this thing as the pack still looking strong down on the bottom. So right now, Kevin Cordall going to take his charge up to the top side of the racetrack. Ryan Dingler down on the bottom side, still trying to hang out with whatever speed he can get. Grant Peterson and Nathan Shiflett will be the primary pushers. We are now into the second half of this race, and still everybody packed up a one big battle pack. Again, a couple drivers slipping back. Kluge, Sherry, and then you got Purcell. Stefan Purcell kind of back here in the mix of this as well, but I don't think that's going to be much of a problem for Stefan Purcell, so we'll see what Purcell is going to be able to do as he's going to try to charge his way up through and to the point. Right now, Ryan Dingler going to continue to lead the way as they work their way out of turn number 4 and across to start-finish. So Dingler, I think, again, one of those main drivers to best, as we still have not gotten to the point where we'll be getting down to some green flag pit stops. And these 2 lines showing no signs of making any sort of major moves. The only switches we're seeing on the timing screen so far are just when drivers get around each other into individual lines from top to bottom. When the 97 passes the 19 here up in turn 4. And I think that is a little bit telling of how this race could pan out, right? I mean, it's at this point, you're a bit stuck. The only way to really make a move is to try to get to the head of one of these lines. And the only way to do that is to go 3 wide. But nobody, well, let me rephrase, very few people have been willing to make those aggressive lunges into that middle groove to try to make the 3 wide line work. And it's not a strategy commonly seen until you really get to the nitty-gritty. You know, we're talking within like 20, 15, even 10 laps to go. That's where we're going to be seeing a lot of the racing kick off. But for now, this is all pretty bog standard. And we've still got one pit stop window left in us before the end of this race as well, don't forget. Badger Racing continuing with their 1-2 charge down on the bottom. Now Holden McGill is third in the inside line. Now this is partial good news for Badger Racing because they know how each other run, right? They're able to kind of keep the momentum going down to the bottom. The problem is they're not able to control that outside lane at all. That is the big problem that these guys are trying to struggle with. I mean, what do you do when you're trying to get something sorted down to the inside line, but you got these guys fighting with you on the top? I genuinely think it would have been a better move for one of these drivers to stay aligned on the outside line and lead the outside train as well. That would allow them to control both lanes, right? You can play with that throttle just a little bit. Make sure you're not ever quite fully in the gas, so that way you're never going to get clear, and thus gives the drivers behind you a little bit of a harder time trying to get to the point. But right now, they're having to fight the full force of Kevin Cordall and Nathan Shiflett up on the outside. And Kroll, I think, has been trying to experiment with getting up and into the fray as well. But we've still got over 20 laps to go, and it's a long way to go to the end of this race. So there's still plenty of time for something to come to a head. Down to the bottom, Anthony Mussatti, down several laps. He's going to find himself going down yet one more. After he had connection issues early on, he's going to stay parked right on the bottom, forces everybody into the middle. His teammate, Grant Peterson, gets into the door of Kevin Cordall and nearly sends the 13 for a ride. And that's going to work for Mussatti because that means he has forced himself down into the inside line. He now lines it up first, second, third, and fourth. All Badger Racing crews down to the inside with the LAC truck bringing up the rear of the charge. Teamwork makes the dream work, and I think that's right now the game plan. We'll hit 25 to go at the line. Now, what will they be able to do now that Anthony Mussatti's in the mix? My money right now is on, not much. It's not going to change too much from where they were at right now, unless they wanted to really try to go for a 3-truck tandem, but it's never really advisable to go for a move quite like that. It's possible. I've seen that work, but I've also seen it more often than not end in complete disaster. Well deep now into the second half of this race, and this has been it's been an entertaining season opener so far. Only 2 cautions on the afternoon, which, hey, that's a great sight to see. I mean, nobody likes to see a caution-filled Super Speedway race. It takes so many trucks out of the race early on. Right now, all of these drivers have been doing a phenomenal job so far, putting on a good show for us here tonight. And, hey, it's some growing pains for a few of these guys potentially, right? Because, I mean, these guys, a good chunk of this field, they're used to how they run each other in the B-class trucks. Now, they've all run C-class before, but this is the first time in a long time that the trucks are returning in such capacity to the On My Screen Racing League, which is going to, I think, result in a bit more of a cautious race than we're seeing right now, as everybody tries to figure out the fine lines and remember the do's and don'ts of truck racing. It is very different from next-gen racing, and even the Xfinity Series racing. As a 13, whoa, easy now. He'll look for the middle line, and he'll just be let back in by Nathan Shiflett. But you compare a truck race at a super speedway to a next-gen race at super speedway, it's like two different worlds colliding. The racing style is so different in these vehicles, as Cordall will finally break clear for the lead and jump down to the bottom. So we get our next lead change for really the first time ever since we got around to the last restart some time ago. And Dingler continuing to look strong down at the bottom, and he'll now be the primary pusher. I'm sure Dingler's not terribly upset about this. I mean, this allows him to now save a lot of fuel, which could be very valuable in shortening that final pit stop, unless he goes to take tires, in which case, hey, you may as well make sure you're good to go to the end. Cordall, Dingler, Peterson, Shiflett, all running line astern and all thundering down the back straightaway. And you see that Longhorn machine started to lose touch. Nathan Shiflett pushed to the front by Maxwell Kroll. And Nathaniel Ames, third in line, up to the top side. Now, the big question, I think, is how long will Kevin Cordall be content to kind of sit up there in the front of this train? Because remember, he's burning all that much more fuel when he's up there towards the front of this thing. I think we got one truck down onto the apron potentially, or just a brief moment towards the back. But whatever the case, it looks like that's all gotten so sort. It may have been Austin McColgan, who's the last truck right now on the lead lap. 20 to go, this time by at the line. Cordall still leads from Dingler. Shiflett leads the way on the outside. Right now, Badger Racing starting to slip down a little bit more from the main head, the main tip of the spear in this race, as the racing action will continue. 19 to go this time by. When do you start considering making that duck down to the pit road? If I'm these guys, I'm probably stretching this just about as long as I can go. If you know you have to pit, though, somewhere inside 10 to go, I pit at exactly 10 to go. That way you have enough time, if something goes wrong, to try and make up that time, which is not something you'd be able to do if you're having to pit with like 3 laps to go, and that's something that Holden McGill found out the hard way in the LTAC All-Stream Media Cup Series on Friday night, running out of fuel with just 2 laps left to go. Could he have made something happen if he had gone for that splash and dash in the middle of the stint? Probably, but instead you save for 70 laps and, well, kind of lose your streak from there. A bit of 3 wide towards the back, and again, it's Hunter Thrower being the instigator of this 3 wide action. I mentioned when we get to about 20 to go, we're going to see some of this, and we're starting to see it now in full force as he's still got 1 truck. Whoa, Wilson, look out! Justin Wilson breaking out sideways on the exit of the tri-oval. What in the world just happened there? Let's get a look at this one coming back off of turn number, coming off of the tri-oval here is Derek Bourne. Justin Wilson having a wild ride. He was given a bit of a shove from Matt Cherry at the back of the field, and then, he found the outside wall. And that's what sent him way down to the inside as he tried to wrench that car off of the wall to the outside. The outside lane, once with a big head of steam, has started to falter once again as Maxwell Kroll and Nathan Shiflett have not been making too many strides on top side of the racetrack. Cordall, Dingler, Peterson, and McGill have all been making good charges down to the bottom to keep these guys at bay. But now he's in the 15 truck, slowly climbing back to the orders. He's going to pull up to the number 2 spot, and could he go for the lead here? Really side drafting that inside line, and he is going to go, or try to go from 5th to 1st in about half a lap. Still neck and neck as you work out of turn 4 and into the tri-oval, this time by and Kevin Cordall. Oh, he'll need one more, so couldn't, again, just can't quite get the nose in. This is the difficult thing that everybody has got to try and work with one another on, is the fact that these lines are not willing to cooperate with each other right now, and it looks like a lot of drivers may be out for themselves. A lot of fuel saving, I think. Oh, there we go. Grant Peterson spinning around, and that's going to bring out yet another yellow flag as Peterson spins out on the back stretch, and that, I think, might be the big one, part 2. There's a whole host of trucks in a parking lot, middle of the backstretch. And while that does say first caution, it is in actuality our 3rd, as we had to kind of do some resetting here behind the scenes to get things fully up and working again. But this is, rest assured, our 3rd caution, not our first caution of the night. It's just unfortunate that it had to come out like that. Let's get a look back, and we'll see if we can find out what happened here to Hunter. Well, we kind of know what happened to Hunter Thrower. He got turned. That much is pretty well established, but we'll get a look as... Sorry, it was Grant Peterson that spun all the way around. So we're going to look at what happened to Grant Peterson. I don't think this was with teammate friendly fire. I think Shiflett or somebody on the outside just made a bit of a bad move down to the bottom. That was my that was kind of my approximation. Watch Peterson on the inside in the blue and white 52. Oh, a hit from Ames sent Kroll right down into the side of Grant Peterson. He got tagged hard by Jacob Noyes, Spencer Ray, the 4, the 26, the 05, the 51, all getting involved. And some drivers get involved more than once as they spun it out big time down to the backstretch. Take a look at this one from the blimp. There goes one, and there goes the rest. It's a big shame. A lot of good trucks getting collected to this one as we got another big pack of the field down and into pit road. Last time we had yellow flag pit stops, we saw drivers being spun around in the middle of their pit stops. We'll see if that will now be the case on our second take on trying to get through a pit stop run. And you are going to be good to go to the end of this point, so it is just all-out racing from this point on. And again, a lot of trucks taking some long pit stops, get that damage repaired without having to use that quick repair that these drivers have their access to. Man, that is a that is just a tough break all around. We'll see if we can get in touch with a couple of the drivers who are potentially under this caution flag period. And one of the drivers I've been a bit curious to talk to have been some of our rookies so far all in the season. And among those drivers that is one of the rookies here would be the likes of Noah Rainwater, the driver that has unfortunately not had, shall we say, the most pleasant of afternoons so far. We'll see if we can't get in touch with the driver of the 05 Chevy Silverado of Noah Rainwater. Noah, this is Noah Rampel up here in the broadcast booth. You got a copy?
Yeah, I got a copy. What's going on?
Oh, well, not much on mine, and it looks like not too much down on pit road either for yourself. It's been an eventful race. How's it been like coming in here as a rookie and kind of being all over the map?
It's fun. Trying to learn how everybody is. I really only know Matt Cherry from another league we run, and Ryan does my paints. So I don't really know how any of these guys and how they run and drive. And it's been fun. It's fun to get up front and figure things out up there, but I don't know what happened when we got in that wreck.
Well, overall, I mean, you're going to be exiting pit road here, still on the lead lap. How do you reckon the truck's going to be feeling? You got, what, I think 13, 12 laps to go back green here?
Ooh, I don't know. We're gonna see. She's got some damage still left in her, but I hope she's got enough horsepower to keep going. Maybe get a top 10 out of this. That's the goal.
And overall, if we do see you returning in week 2 onward, what's going to be the game plan for the rest of the season?
Be consistent, finish races, try and get top 10s every week, be there for the playoffs.
All right, I like it. Let's let you get back down to work. Thank you for joining us up here tonight.
Thank you.
There's no Rainwater joining us up here. He will be rejoining this race fully up to 22nd after all was said and done. He did leave the pits in 25th, had to overtake a few other drivers, but we are lights out with 1 to green. We will get back to green flag racing this next time by. Brett Vandehey will be the first truck up towards the head of this field. Now, Brett Vandehey did not pit. Bold strategy, 14 laps to go and not coming down to pit road at all. Last pit on lap 29, we are working lap 52. Call me crazy, I don't think he can make it to the end of this race. I might be wrong. They have changed the fuel limitation numbers from the last season, so I could very well be wrong. And we'll find out if I'm wrong here in a hot minute, but boy. I don't know if I agree with that call just yet, but we'll see what it's like when we're sitting at about, well, if he runs out of fuel, we'll know very quickly if he runs out of fuel because that truck is going to stop and cause a monumental pileup. Pace truck is off, and once again, the field working into the Geico restart zone. Green flags in the air. We're back underway. Devin Gordall making an immediate jump to the top shelf. Wanted to get around Brett Vandehey in a hurry. He's going to join the likes of Robert Peterson. And looks like Nathan Shiflett going up to the outside as well. So Vandehey being left all by himself down on the bottom. Shiflett will lead the charge from the outside, and looking like Shiflett going to take Dingler with him. And we are now fully up to speed as we hit turns 3 and 4. And look at the big break, middle of the field, about half a second from Jason Layton back, from Justin Wilson back to Spencer Ray. And then you got Hunter Thrower currently pushing Ray as they're trying to work their way back up and into the fray. They can be there to fight it out with the leaders here for a race win at the end. Gordall being given that little bit of a push down on the bottom by the 97. You saw Shiflett wiggle a bit as he got tagged by the back of Ryan Dingler. In fact, look at the dent that's actually formed to the back bumper of 15. That was a big push that he was given from Dingler's number 23. As we lunge back through the tri-oval, there it is. Shiflett pulling even with 10 laps to go. Saw again, trying to lean on the door. That's him trying to drag the entire inside line back. All you got to do is side draft the first driver, and everybody else is going to check up by themselves. Down the Daytona super stretch, and Gordall showing no signs of yielding this one. One truck has lost the gap way at the back. 2 trucks have lost the gap way at the back. Nathaniel Ames is one of the trucks that slowed down on the tail end, and Terry Isaac is among them. Meanwhile, Noah Rainwater mentioned he wasn't sure how his truck was going to be feeling with all of that damage. Well, he's looking fine so far. He's worked his way up to 13th already. Wow, look out, Vandehey off the racetrack at the tri-oval, comes back on, and he is going to save it. No, we're not going to save it behind, though. Spencer Ray going around, and the caution's out with less than 10 to go. Caution number 4 on the day. The 4 of Brett Rucker goes into the inside wall as well. Oh boy, well now it gets interesting. take a look back at all of this carnage here as, well, we'll get a look first on what happened here to Brett Vandehey. And Vandehey got a bit crossed up himself as he was working out of turn 4 and into the trial. Got on the apron and then got a bit of help from Austin McCullough to the 51, it looked like. It's a beautiful save from Vandehey, and, well, not so much for Spencer Ray and co. As the resulting stack up meant that Cherry ran into the back of Ray, and then Musati, oh boy! Just escaping disaster from Musati. Sean Kaiser got spun, and he went for a bouncy ride in the Camerota Truck Parts Chevy, and then right down to the inside wall, there is the hit for the 4 of Brett Rucker. Right on board here with Brett Vandehey through the tri-oval. And it could have all fallen apart just like that, and it did fall apart behind. Meanwhile, on board with Anthony Musati. Oh, man, that is some amazing heads-up driving from the 49 truck. Easily could have ended in complete and utter disaster. Seven laps to go, this time by at the line, and well, for a brief moment there, we peaked at 31 concurrent viewers. That is a new record on Green Flag TV. So thank you so much, everybody, for taking the time to come on out and join us on a Tuesday night. Midweek racing, it's not something you often see people tuning in to watch, but hey, we're happy that every one of you are on board for what's been a very exciting season opener thus far. There's still a long way to go throughout the week as well. Coming on up on Green Flag TV, the Beer League has their season opener tomorrow, also at Daytona. They will be running through the moto layout, though, in the infield. That'll be tomorrow, January 10th at 6:30 p.m. Eastern Time. The LTAC All Street Media Cup Series returns at 8 o'clock p.m. on January the 12th on Friday night. And then on Saturday morning at 10:45 a.m. Eastern Time, the VSCA Sports Car Championship kicks off their season with the roar before the 24. At the Daytona International Speedway, Austin Edstrom and I will bring you all of the coverage to kick off IMSA racing on a beautiful Saturday morning. So we will have 5 laps to go when we go back to Green Flag Racing. We're going to take a step back. You're watching the OMSRL Truck Series on Green Flag TV. Entering turn number 1, 1 lap left to go before we get back to Green Flag Racing, and this is where it gets truly wild. No holds barred. It's going to be a slugfest from here to the end. I don't think we're quite done wrecking just yet. Remember, we have 3 overtime attempts throughout the course of this series. We will, of course, and the way overtime works, you have to have a caution that pushes you past the regular allotted number of time. You add 2 laps. You go green for 1 lap, Then the final lap will be the next one, hence why it is often dubbed the green-white checkered. You got 3 of those attempts. If you get a caution before the white flag, you reset, try it again. But we are still under regulation time. 64 laps was expected to be the distance, and, well, that's not looking like it's going to be changing at all here right now. 4 cautions on the day. Once again, I know the caution counter is a bit wrong. We have to do some resetting behind the scenes. That, unfortunately, reset the caution counter as well. Not our second yellow, but our 4th here on the afternoon, and it could very well surpass 5 yet before this race comes to a close. But 5 laps to go as Nathan Shiflett going to be trying to work his way into the restart zone, this time by in the 15. Will be taking us back to the restart zone, this time by. The pace truck pulls off. Nathan Shiflett leading the way. 5 laps to go at Daytona as we work into the restart zone once again. Slowly rising through the gears, through the miles as we fire it through turns 1 and 2. Back to the Daytona super stretch. Cordall works the top. Robert Peterson, Ryan Dingler, the 2 main pushers. Everyone else behind just along for the ride. Right now, I have to say, I think my vote for who's going to win this race, I'm going to put it down on Shiflett. I don't think Cordall is going to be leading this race by the end. He may be facing the inside wall by the end. It's a very common saying when you get to super speedway racing like this, the one place you don't want to be when that white flag waves is in the lead, because it makes you a sitting duck for everyone else behind you. Everyone else might get the runs. You will not be one of them. A couple of drivers making moves towards the back. How about the 26 trying to make a lunge around the top side? There's a few trucks opening up the 3rd lane. Here we go. There's the 3 wide action we expected to see once we hit 10 to go. And that's going to get tight. This track, it's wide enough for 3 wide, but only just. There's not a lot of room in Daytona, but enough to make it work if you know how to drive around each other. But as we've established before, a lot of these drivers still figuring that out, and that's what makes a 3 wide scenario like this so precarious. But we are still going to keep things rolling as we'll look back up to the front. Cordall, Shiflett, Peterson, Dingler, and Morton, the top 5, all seasoned veterans of the series back when they were running the Xfinity cars last season. Oh, trouble back straightaway. Multiple trucks around and sliding to the inside wall. The 53 noses it in hard. Justin Wilson is in it. Rainwater is in it. The 26 is still wrecking into the infield of Noah Swayford. And, well, what did I tell you? That's going to put us into overtime, attempt number 1. So this is where the action kicks off in earnest. 2 laps will be the distance when we get back to green flag racing. Take a look at all of this as this went wrong on the back straightaway. Watching Noah Rainwater, one of the drivers that went into the infield. Nathaniel Ames already up there. And, oh, well, that'll be a bit difficult to get a look from here. But, the 26 got hooked hard into the outside wall. That's what sent Rainwater down into the 53. And this 53 truck of Brett Vandehey spun around, and he's going to nose that thing hard into the inside wall and a big hit. That is a tough deal in the middle of the backstretch. Take another look. You see the 26 tracks up across the nose of Vandehey, and it was just on from there. And Rainwater spun down into the middle of the field, and gosh, that is a violent hit into the inside wall for Brett Vandehey. Let's take a ride on board with the 53 truck. I mean, Hay never moved. I think that's all on the truck that turned across his nose. And there goes the motor. So a big fat pop there for the 53 truck. That is, again, that's rough. I mean, it's never an ideal situation to see a battle fall apart like that, right? That's just how the cookie crumbles sometimes. Justin Wilson was the other driver that kind of got a bit of a hit there as Van de Hey slid back across the racetrack. So we're now working lap 64. This would, under normal circumstances, be that final lap, but we are into overtime attempt number 1. And right now, it is just about anybody's game. You've got, as it stands, 25 of the 28 trucks that started this race on the lead lap, and any one of them has a shot on going for victory. Cordall, Shiflett, Peterson, and more all involved. We'll ride on board here with, let's ride on board with Swayford in the meantime. He kind of got beat around a little bit in this mess. This is what it looked like from on board with the number 26. Well, that's not going to do us much of much good there. We'll try one more time to get a better look on that one. The draft of Jacob Noyes and just. Oh, he lifted and tried to avoid collusion. That's why he tracked up across the nose. And, well, it is on at that point. That's all she wrote. Oh, and Spencer Ray, in fact, taking a hard hit. Right on board with the 6. See the wreck developing. He's doing everything he has to, and then just, oh! That had all the hallmarks of just not holding the brakes. That's unfortunate that Spencer Ray was unfortunate enough to get collected in that. Gotta hold the brakes. It's rule number 1. When you get in a wreck, you lock those brakes down. It makes you a lot more predictable and it prevents extra damage from being collected like that. I mean, Ray had that missed. Well, whatever the case, we will we'll reset. We'll try it again. 2 laps to go. Caution flag number 5. If you make it back to the white flag, then whatever happens, happens. Hedgebats, who do you think is going to take the win here tonight? Saw Jacob Noyes was opting for Holden McGill taking the win here in this one. Yeah, it's a long shot. McGill running back in 8th, but not an impossibility. Ryan Dingler was tossed around as a potential driver to win this race. He's running 4th, arguably with one of the better chances in this field, running on the outside, starting 2nd. But it's all going to depend on how Nathan Shiflett gets off the line here. Kevin Cordall will lead the way into the restart zone. 2 laps to go. As we get set to tug the bells for one final time, green flag is back in the air. Cordall on a pretty good launch, all things considered, as he makes his way down in the turn number 1. Robert Peterson trying to give him that big push that he needs all the way down in the round through turn 2. And right now, nobody's going to be being conservative. Everybody's going to be leaning on back bumpers. If you see somebody backing off, they're trying to set up a run. To the top side goes Ryan Dingler. He's going to try to make the charge for the lead. Shiflett abandoned in the middle. As Badger Racing mounts a charge from the top, but it's not going to be enough, as look at how far forward that inside lane is pulling. Morton trying to come in to cut the line off. Bit of rebounded off the 8 for the 51 of Austin McColgan, trying to keep his Chevy Silverado sorted. He's weaving all over the shot. Kevin Cordall, meanwhile, takes the white flag. 1 lap to go. Robert Peterson giving a push to the back bumper to the 13. This is where it's all going to count here on this one final lap. Morton trying to set up a run in third. The Badger Racing duos or crew starting to drop at the top. Morton to the top shelf, but that discombobulates the entire line. 3 wide of pairs. They've worked their way down the backstretch and into the third and final corner. 4 wide now as they work their way down the straightaway. That's not going to work. We're crashing in turn number 3 and 4, and it's a big mess. McGill around the 13 around. Daniel Half, meanwhile, all by himself. Shiflett trying to get around him as they'll make the run to the start-finish line. Shiflett to the line. Gonna look low, look high, back down low, can't get there. And it will be Daniel Half taking the win as Nathan Shiflett couldn't find a way to get around at the line. Still a few more drivers looking to make it whatever spots they can get at the stripe, as there's a 3 wide photo finish. That, I believe, was for 9th. But it all falls apart up on the top side of turn numbers 3 and 4, as it was a big mess. Let's take a look back and we'll show you what happened in all its glory. 4 wide doesn't work. They all come together, and the whole field just demolishes itself coming to the checkered flag. Whoa, the 51! Oh, the 51! Sent out of the ballpark as he landed on top of the catch fence and barrel rolled down the bottom of the racetrack. We will be getting another look at that, but for now, Daniel Half, as the race winner, will get set to burn it down in victory lane. Brings his car to a stop on the front stretch. What a drive it was for the number 32. As, oh boy, McColgan. Good Lord. We will have to get another look at this one as Austin McColgan. This will be going slow motion here down to the turn number 2. They went 4 wide. McColgan's one of the drivers that kicked this whole thing off, going 4 wide up the middle with Hunter Thrower. They get into the outside wall. Now watch the 51 as he is going to get beat around here. He lifts on top. He gets kind of squeezed up into the wall as the field just crumbles together. Goes on top of the back deck lid of Grant Peterson. Still sliding backwards. The 4 slides up, and right there he gets kicked into the air. Onto his nose, and there's the big hit from Purcell on top of the catch fence. Nearly cleared the dang thing, slams down on the roof, and barrel rolls down and into the infield grass. Take one more look. This will be at speed with that 51 truck. Once again, a first. I've never seen the truck flip like that. I swore that thing was going to land in the parking lot on the outside of turn 4. Backs it up, and what a wild ride. It's a classic Daytona finish right there as the whole field kind of settled itself down. And, well, with all of that said and done, we're going to finally get the chance to take a look at your official post-race results after what was a truly wild night of racing action from the Daytona International Speedway. Finishing this race on the top step, of course, Daniel Half by 64 thou over Nathan Shiflett, who tried to find a way around, just couldn't find a way to get it done. Jacob Noyes will bring this one home on the podium. Maxwell Kroll was in 4th. Keith Handler was in 5th. Jason Layton 6th, Noah Rainwater 7th, Justin Wilson 8th, Matt Cherry 9th, Grant Peterson rounds out the top 10. From there you had Sean Kaiser, Ryan Dingler, Brett Rucker, Nathaniel Ames, Stephen Purcell, Gage Teft, Hunter Thrower, Noah Swafer, Brandon Kluge, Baron Morton, Holden McGill, Terry Misek, and Austin McColgan all finishing this race on the lead lap. And then Kevin Cordall, Robert Peterson, Spencer Ray, Musati, and Brett Vandehey all finishing this race 1 or 2 laps down. My oh my, it's ever a wild night when it gets to racing like this, as we'll get the chance here to speak to all of the podium finishers here at the end of the night, and we'll try to kick things off, of course, first and foremost with none other than Daniel Half, the driver that took that race win in Storm, managed to duck his way around the big one on the final lap, and comes home to secure victory. Daniel, you join us up here now from Victory Lane. It was a wild final lap. Walk us through what it looked like from your end.
Oh, man, I don't know how the doors just kind of opened up on that last couple of laps after that restart. People just kept kind of drifting a little high. I think the tires were getting worn. And just coming down the backstretch on that last lap, I just saw the opening. I had to go for it and just squeeze the truck in there and prayed that everyone held their line and we made it back to the start-finish line. And luckily, I made it through.
It's not often that you get a lucky like that to kind of avoid that giant wreck on the backstretch. But overall, I mean, you started right dead in the mid-pack, about 18th spot that number 32 truck started in. So what the heck happened in qualifying then? Because you had the race pace.
I don't know what it is. I can never qualify all that well in these races, but as soon as we get going in the draft, I kind of get a better feel for it and kind of move my way to the front. A couple times throughout the race, I think at one point I got up to 5th. I was running maybe around the top 10 most of the race, kind of dropped back from some of the cautions throughout, but then, was able to just kind of keep finding the right lanes of just keep moving up to the front.
And moving on into the rest of the season, obviously, we mentioned that you had the speed last season, but you were more of a part-time runner there. Is the plan going to be then to try to go for a title starting off next week?
I mean, this is definitely a great way to start it. I'd like to make as many of the races as I can. I may still be part-time, but I'm definitely going to, especially after this one, I'm definitely going to try and make as many of these as I can, see where I can end up in the points.
Well, hopefully see you out next week in Joliet, Illinois when we go racing at the Chicagoland Speedway. For now, congratulations on the race win here tonight. Best of luck, and we see you next week.
Thanks so much. Look forward to next week at Chicago.
That was Daniel Half joining us up in the broadcast booth from Victory Lane. That'll move us on down to the likes of Nathan Shiflett. Potentially, yes, there is Mr. Shiflett himself, the driver that comes home second place on the podium for the number 15 car, as he, again, just able to avoid the wreck behind. And look for you there, Nathan, like you were trying to find a way around Daniel at the line there. But what happened out of turn 4?
Really don't know. I just saw Maxwell car start wrecking, and then I lost all my momentum getting hit in the side like that. So I tried to go on the outside real quick, but these trucks, man, you just got to have a lot of momentum going into the corners and, coming off the straight. He was the lead truck, so he won, but I was trying to get him loose coming out of the corner. But don't have no momentum.
Well, hey, it was a good race, all things considered. You qualified in the top 5. You finished in the top 5 as well and on the podium. So, overall, I would call that a very successful way to kick off the season.
Oh, yeah, no doubt. Led some laps at the beginning. I don't know what happened with that 3-wide situation, but it's just Daytona. You expect that, but we all rate. It's going to take it easy, but my competitive side said otherwise, and I got back up to the front. So I'm happy with that, man. It ain't no big deal. We just go out there and just finish strong at the end and hopefully have a good season.
Looking forward to Chicagoland Speedway 1 week from now. What's going to be the game plan as we'll get set to swing out towards the Windy City?
Hopefully I have my teammate. We live on the East Coast, so we're getting hit with storms, and luckily I got hit this morning. And my internet came back on. But poor Zach, he's stuck in Delaware, and he got hit pretty good. So I lost my teammates. That was the biggest thing tonight, was just trying to work with people I don't usually work with. So hopefully having him back will be nice.
Well, hopefully we'll see you back out and on the racetrack once again next week. Congratulations on the second place regardless. And who knows, maybe we'll be one better when we return in Illinois.
Oh, yeah, that's the plan, man. That's the plan.
That was Nathan Shiflett joining us up here for Burn Bacon Motorsports, finishing on the podium in his number 15 car, or truck, excuse me. And that'll take us down to the driver that finishes third step on the podium. It is Jacob Noyes, a driver for Inconsistency Racing. And I tell you what, Inconsistency Racing, Jake, I mean, it fit that truck tonight. I mean, all over the map, top, bottom, mostly around the mid-pack. So how the heck did you find yourself squeaking through that huge one off of turn 4 to sneak third?
I call that pure luck. It's last lap, keep your foot on it, and just like, okay, well, It's either going to go straight or it's going to go sideways, and there's not a lot that you can do to fix it. So let it ride.
I mean, you let it ride indeed, and you end up with plus 19 in the final step on the podium. Overall, then, is this looking good for your shots here on trying to go for a championship in Season 6?
I mean, from the preseason testing races that we were doing, I've actually performed a lot better than expectations. So I don't know that I got a championship in it, but I've definitely got a chance to make the playoffs.
And overall, it's a big change, right? I mean, and we were talking about it all night long, about how different the style of racing was between Cup cars, Xfinity cars, trucks. Where do you think your strength lies? Is it lies in the C trucks or more in the B-class cars?
Definitely in the trucks. Just in general, I like a tighter feel on the vehicle I'm driving, so the Xfinity cars were definitely a lot looser, so I'm definitely liking the balance on the truck better.
Well, we'll hopefully see that balance work more to your favor, and hopefully we'll be seeing some strong results throughout the rest of the season. Good luck in Chicagoland next week.
Thank you very much.
That's Jacob Noyes joining us up here. Final step on the podium, and well, with that, that's going to be about all the time we're going to have for one night. But again, what an absolutely manic race this was. A great way to kick off the racing season once again at the OMSRL Truck Series. Next week, we'll swing on out to the Chicagoland Speedway, but it pretty much is Daytona week. The Beer League, along with the VSCA Sports Car Championship, will be making their runs here to Daytona as well, here at the World Center of Racing on 2 different road course layouts, 3 Daytona races, 3 different layouts, 3 very different styles of racing. Join us on Wednesday and Saturday Wednesday night and Saturday morning, and then of course join us on Friday as well for LTAC, where they'll be running out to the Keystone State at a very different 2.5-mile racetrack down at the Pocono Raceway. For now, my name is Nolan Rampo. Thank you so much for joining us here tonight. And we'll wish you a good rest of your week. My name has been Nolan Rampo, bringing you all of the coverage here tonight on Green Flag TV. And we'll see you all, and hopefully and more over the coming weeks. Thank you so much for joining us here on this absolutely incredible Tuesday night. What a way to kick off the season.